The secret things belong unto the Lord our God, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever. So there are things we can expect to know. There are answers which are clear and positive and complete and satisfying. So there is a body of knowledge we may receive into our own minds and pass on to our children. But those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever. My friends, I want to begin this morning by distinguishing the two. The things we can't know and the things we can. All education really proceeds on the use of 5 simple words: when, where, why, how, and what. Never suppress a little child in his or her use of those little words: what, and where, and when, and why, and how. They learn that way. They express their curiosity, which leads on to wisdom by those words. Always notice this: the why is the difficult one. I got into a train one day at Victoria Station in London, sat down opposite a man and his little boy. The little boy was fond of trains and not very used to them. When he was well on the seat, he patted the seat and said to his father, "Daddy, what is this?" And Daddy said, "It's a train." And he said, "Where's it going?" And Daddy said, "To Brighton." He said, "When's it going?" "In 5 minutes," said Daddy. "How is it going, Daddy?" The engine in the engine in front will pull it." And then the little boy said, with a special earnestness, "Daddy, Daddy, why is it a train?" And then Daddy was done. And if there is anyone among you this morning feeling particularly bright on this lovely Sabbath morning, you have a go at that. Why is it a train? Always I say, the why is the difficult one. I go back to an old church, a church of which I was the minister many years ago. Some people say that when a minister of any communion moves on from one church to another, he soon forgets the people he leaves behind. It's a libel, you know, a libel on the ministry. We do not love you and serve you and pray over you and visit you for years and then go away and forget. I went back to the church, the morning worship being over, the people in their loving way queued up to have a word with their old minister. One by one they passed me and gave me their latest news. And then a man came dressed in black, and something chill struck at my heart, and I said, "Mr. Lane, you're in trouble." He said, "I've lost my wife." "Oh," I said, "have you, Mr. Lane? When did she die?" He said, "In February." "Oh," I said, "what did she die of?" "Cancer," he said. "Oh," I said, "was she at home when she died?" "No," he said, "no, we nursed her as long as we could, but at the last she went to the hospital. She died there. I was with her when she died." He's answered all my questions. I know when and where and how I know it all. Now he has one for me. He says, Doctor, you're a minister of religion. You know what a lovely woman my wife was. Only 37. Doctor, tell me, why had my children to be left motherless? Why had I to lose my wife when she was only 37? Why is always the hard one. Belong unto the Lord our God. My dear friends, I want to say to you, have a certain reserve in your mind in trying to explain the great problems of other people's lives. There are some among us who think they have the answer to all things, who give sometimes the most shallow explanations, and in the name of God, for a tragedy in somebody else's life so large that they can hardly conceive it. Have a reserve, I say, in regard to those things. Don't belittle know-alls. Remember again what I said a moment ago. There is a necessary agnosticism in parts of all reverent minds. We do not know everything. A God comprehended is no God. The secret things belong unto the Lord our God. And those of us in this way of life, if we are honest, must often say, I do not know. I do not know. Can I intimate some of the secret things we cannot hope to know? Think of the tragedies of this mortal life. Why did that man in the full tide of his powers go blind? Why did that missionary on whom all the work for God in that area seemed to depend, why was he taken from us in the prime of his days? What about that accident in Jamaica the other day? It was a church outing. You did know that, didn't you? It was a church outing. They were devout people and nearly 200 of them killed. Why? Think of the tragedies of life. Or think of the deprivations of life. Think of that lovely woman made for love and maternity, but love passed her by. You've noticed her, haven't you? Whenever a baby comes into the room, she lights up. Her arms shoot out. She says, give me the baby. You look at her out of the corner of your eye and you think she was made for love, made for maternity. But love passed her by. You know that man, I have known such, with the soul of an artist. I know it, I could prove it to you. But he's been a baker's roundsman all his life, never had a chance to be anything else. The soul of an artist, but a baker's roundsman, we do not know. We cannot tell. Think, my dear friends, of such questions of what is life like after death? Or we know that we do not end in the grave. We have that high confidence. We have that inward assurance. But if somebody goes further and says to us, even those of us who make this dear book our constant study, if anybody says to us, now tell me in detail, what is life like on the other side of death? What are they doing? We do not know. We cannot tell. There are those who claim to understand, who give explanations of what happens there. We cannot accept their explanations. we put them aside. We are not of those who put high store by the testimony of those who sit in the dark and mutter. We rest on that holy book. People say, you talk about heaven with confidence. What is it like? We do not know or think of the future of this world. Is our Lord coming very soon? Some among us think he is. Very soon. They are confident that our blessed Lord will come soon. We know he's coming again. We can't read the New Testament without being sure of that. There will be a consummation of the ages, and in that hour Jesus will be seen to be king. All that we know, but not all of us say he is coming soon. Even those among us who do remember, because they are Bible students and know their church history, that for 55 generations devout Christians have been saying, in this generation he will come, and still he tarries, and we are not confident who date it. We know he is coming, but we cannot positively say when. All these are areas of what I have called reverent agnosticism. The secret things belong unto the Lord our God. My dear friends, here is the question I must grapple with now. Always in life we say you must apply the rule of the necessary minimum. Whenever you're facing a perplexity, fix on the essentials. Make a distinction between the things that are essential and the things that are marginal. There is a necessary minimum you must have. Have you got the necessary minimum? Oh, see this rule working out in the ordinary and simple things of life. A man comes to me and says he's going to buy a second-hand car. Well, of course, I begin by sympathizing with the poor chap. But anyhow, that's how it is. It's got to be a second-hand car. And I say to him, well, you must be careful. And I don't ask him whether it's got a wireless in it. And I don't ask him whether there's a sort of arm that comes down at the back. And I don't even ask him whether it's got 2 doors or 4 doors. No, he's got his mind on a car. And I say to him, now you must be sure about the engine and the brakes and the tires. I fix on the essentials. I do. You see the sense of it. A man comes to me and tells me his daughter's got engaged. Oh, I said, I'm so glad. Tell me, what's the fellow like? He knows what I mean. What is he like in character? I don't ask him whether the ancestors of the boy came over with the conqueror. I don't even ask him whether the boy went to Eton or the board school round the corner. I don't even ask if he's tall and dark and handsome. And I don't care. I say, what is he like? What is he like in character? What's the inwardness of the man? Is he the kind of person that would be at home in the church of God, or would he sneer at the things that are dear to us now? I fix on the necessary minimum. I go straight for the essentials. If a lad comes to me and says, I've left school, doctor, I've started work, I'm so interested for him. And again, I don't ask what the firm's telephone number is, and whether the manager, when he went for the interview, was bald or a son of Esau. or whether they have marble steps going up to the front door. I don't ask him that, and I don't care. I say, son, is it a clean business? Tell me that. Are they doing a bit of the world's work? Is it a decent business? Is it? Will you be glad to be working at it? Are there prospects for you? These are the questions I ask. Always in life we apply the rule of the necessary minimum. Let me go for the essentials. Can I buy the car? Can I bless the marriage? Can I encourage the boy to take the job? And here this morning, and in this perplexing world, can I trust God in the midst of the famines and the floods and the earthquakes? And none of those are obviously traceable to human sin. Not obviously. They may be remotely. Can I, in a perplexing world like this, can I trust God? There's the question. Can I be inwardly sure of all that matters? Can I run from one broken-hearted soul to another with a word of comfort and inward assurance? Can I speak out of certitude? Can I meet their need? Can I say to Mr. Lane, this I can say to you, even though I can't tell you why your wife died of cancer at 37, or have I the essentials? Are there enough things revealed which belong unto us and can be given to our children forever and ever? My dear friends, it is the contention of those of us who promote this great rally here at Filey year by year. It is the contention of us all that we have that necessary minimum. We hold quite firmly that the things that matter, those central things, we do know. We say, this word of God promised to be a light unto our feet. It did. It is never suggested within the covers of this holy book that nobody could ever ask a question on anything that this couldn't give a detailed answer to. It does say it's a lamp unto your feet. It gives you all you need to know for this mortal voyage. You can learn now how to steer your course and come in safety to your journey's end. That's what it claims to do. Our testimony is. It fulfills the claim. You know all you need to know, and what the world outside is suffering from is an absence of confidence on those very essential things. What you may say to me are those essential things, all these, that God is there and God is love, that God is there and God is love. The Apostle John, who in his young days, you will recall, was a son of thunder, a man disposed to a hot temper, in the eventide of his days was a gentle old man, as I judge, writing letters about the love of God. Constantly came back to that, the love of God. God is love, he said, and he had confidence in saying it. He lived in a world worse in some ways than our world. Lepers were not segregated then. He could look on them in any day. He saw them dragging their poor rotting bodies about, and though he looked at them with tears, he said, God is love. He lived in a world where wickedness was enthroned, where evil was supreme or seemed to be. He knew it, and he still said, God is love. He saw women selling their virtue for bread. He saw rottenness all through the community, and he didn't close his eyes to the things that seemed to contradict it. And still he said, God is love, And he that abideth in love abideth in God. He was sure on the essentials. He knew God was there, and he knew what God was like. We hold to that. We face a bewildered world with confidence on all those central things. We say to the people pouring down the high road, not far from this camp at this moment, without a thought for God, we say to them on this lovely Sabbath morning, life can never come right for you until you come to God, until you are forgiven for Christ's sake. Oh, 1900 years ago he was born in that little place called Bethlehem. There were mysterious circumstances attending his birth, but that was known to very few people at the time. To other people, he seemed just an ordinary baby. And he grew up in an unsanitary village, and he belonged to a despised race. He wrote no book. He made no scientific discovery. He never traveled in all his life more than 200 miles. He wasn't great in the estimate of this world. They say that Pontius Pilate in retirement was asked if he remembered the crucifixion. He said he remembered something about it, but he'd forgotten the fellow's name. Oh, that's how they might have thought then. But listen, that little group who were with him, those he chose that they might be with him, had a growing wonder in their mind the more they lived with him. They saw burning in him a light not of this world. They noticed things in him that belonged to no mortal man. He forgave sins. He had no sense of sin himself. All good men have a sense of sin. The better the man, the sharper their sense of sin. He had no sense of sin. He accepted worship. No man would accept worship. He did. He took it as his lawful right. When they murdered him on 2 pieces of wood, he rose from the dead from the 3rd day, and they knew then what their minds had been groping towards for many months. The ancient promises had been fulfilled. God had visited and redeemed his people. The very Son of God had dwelt among them in great humility. It was God himself. What did he say? He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. Before Abraham was, I am. I am the way, the truth, and the life. He had said it. It was true. Do you want to know what God is like? You suffering, broken-hearted people, that dear mother in this congregation this morning, if there be such a one, and there could be, who lost her husband in the First World War and her son in the Second. Any one of you with dear ones in mental hospitals, any one of you who have recently gone through the bitter experience of seeing the coffin standing beside the bed of someone very dear to you, whatever be your suffering and perplexity, we say to you, look into the face of Jesus. See the knowledge of the glory of God revealed in him. And nothing else matters. No, I don't know the answer to some things. I would stand now in the square, anywhere, in any town where I could command an audience, and they could fling questions at me, and I would have in honesty to say, I do not know, but all this I know, if you would know God, see him disclosed in Jesus. If this be true, if God be like this, obey him. Nothing else matters, nothing else. He said himself, you know what'll happen with all these questions in your mind? The day'll come and we'll meet, and you won't ask me any questions. You won't. You won't. I believe it. You won't ask him any questions. They'll die on your lips. Let that be true. Nothing matters. Ultimately, not even atom bombs, nor cancer, nor for a while the shadowed mind, nor this, nor that. This has been revealed to us. God disclosed to us in Jesus. Oh, let this be true. And there are hallelujahs forevermore. This is true, my dear friend. You who are not fully in this faith, embrace him. Those of you who were once in it and have drifted away from the center, come back to that center again. Hold to Jesus, the incarnate Son of God, the world's Redeemer. Hold to that. And you can say to many questions, I do not know, and not be much distressed in saying it, because you have the essentials. And having this, you can travel in confidence, and in confidence and security come to your journey then